Dubai skyline is once again reaching new heights with the announcement of Burj Azizi, set to become the world's second tallest tower at 725 meters. Not far behind, the 112-story project by Binghatti and the jeweler Jacob & Co. is set to stand at 557 meters tall upon estimated completion in Q2 2026. But that's not all, as the Senses Residences Dubai Marina was also poised initially to be the world's tallest residential tower. Perhaps not anymore, as it will soar to 517 meters with 122 stories with ultra-luxurious living spaces. Meanwhile, two lesser-hyped projects, Tiger Sky Tower at 532 meters and Franck Muller Aeternitas Tower at 450 meters, also claim new records for the world's highest rainforest and respectively the world's tallest residential clock tower. Sounds very ambitious. These megatall projects are generating immense hype, promised unparalleled luxury and record-breaking amenities. But as an investor, are you aware of the potential risks associated with such ambitious developments? In this video, we'll delve into the realities of investing in such megatall structures. And while I'm not specifically going to refer to any of those previously mentioned towers or developers in particular, just megatall buildings and developments in Dubai. And while you will say that Alex is avoiding those projects because they are super expensive and he has no money for them, well, that might be true, but it's not really totally because of that. That's why leave a thumbs up to this video, subscribe to see more of this content in the future, and let's begin with some of the facts. First of all, we've seen that all these new launches have really inflated prices. It could be because of the hype, the potential record-breaking amenities and whatever they claim to achieve, and also it could be just because of the branded residences and just the brands that many people like and follow already for many years, and if they are doing it in partnership with some of these really well-known brands, then people might get more attracted to this. Of course, such projects cost a lot of money, and that's why they have to be heavily marketed, and they will pop up on your screens wherever you look at, in YouTube, in Instagram, and all the social media platforms, because the developers have to make their money back. Investors might pay a premium for the hype, but might find lower than expected returns or construction compromises. For example, some of the past highly marketed skyrise projects in Dubai, even including Burj Khalifa, had really lower than expected quality. Another thing is that delays are super common in tall buildings because of their complex engineering. They have a lot of challenges and reliance on really advanced technology to make it properly work. The higher the tower, the higher the risk of having some extension in the delivery timeline, sometimes leading to year-long delays or even modifications. Let's take as an example the Dubai Creek Tower, which was proposed to surpass Burj Khalifa, and they actually announced that they will start the construction, but the project has been delayed indefinitely. These megatall structures really require a lot of high-level engineering and alignment with all the parties that are involved into creating this magnificent towers, because they are truly spectacular, but the creation and the funds that are involved in this and all the people have to be super aligned, and there is a lot of delays into this, which is one of the main reasons that I personally would try to avoid this kind of towers. Quick one, finding the right property in Dubai isn't just about following the hype, checking the location, and negotiating the price. It's about working with the right people. That's exactly what I realized when I met Imad, the founder of Wim Real Estate. Unlike many agents who just pushed the sales, Imad took his time to understand my needs and helped me find a commercial studio space that fit my vision perfectly. That's why I cannot recommend Wim Real Estate enough for specifically off-plan sales, which they specialize in and will guide you towards finding the exact property type, apartment or villa that you actually need. Making a proper investment is not about the luxury or over-exaggerated hype. You need to be heard and understood to get the best for both parties. That's why visit Wim Real Estate's website, reach out via WhatsApp, and follow their Instagram for their latest updates and make an informed decision before placing any down payments. Now back to another fact that I really personally don't like, which is the over promises and eventually poor quality. We all know that Burj Khalifa has had thousands of challenges and thousands of really bad complaints about their engineering, but also their lips operations and many other things that came into play and make the experience also not the most satisfying. Which leads to another point, which is the tenant comfort, and that is super important. And I mean, we all know this both as investors but also as tenants. However, in those megastall structures, it's really hard to give this kind of comfort. By living here in Dubai, we've all seen this in other mega tall structures, but even in just simply tall structures, even when you have 50 to 60 floors, you see that you have to wait for the lifts for ages. And then there are a lot of people, both residents and also tourists, that are just so overcrowding the place, which also leads to lack of privacy, because by being at home you want to have some kind of privacy, and when you're surrounded by literally thousands of people being in that same tower with you, you obviously won't have any kind of privacy. You always see the Korean Deliveroo delivering food and all kinds of parcels and so on from DHL, Amazon. That's not the point. The point is that there is too much and there are too many people accessing that specific tower. It could be the lifts are overloaded, or you simply can't even see there are too many cars being parked outside, which in result creates congestion, and there's a lot of traffic when you want to go out of that tower. And literally, even in my tower, we have 40 floors, but sometimes I can see that there are too many cars parked outside. I need to wait to get out of the parking, and that really creates not the best experience for the user. Another thing is that Dubai already has quite a number of luxury towers, so there's definitely oversupply and lower than expected returns from these mega tall structures. Rental demand for ultra luxury residential buildings is actually quite limited. I do understand that the villas that are ultra luxury will definitely see their buyers because they are also more limited, and the actual buyer will most probably be an end user. However, in this kind of megatall structures, we see a lot of investors who jump in at the launch phase and they want to actually make some rental income afterwards. Even in the same Burj Khalifa, there are so many investors who jumped in to actually rent out those apartments and see some returns. But if you have too many of these kind of towers, and also let's not forget, the higher the tower, the more apartment units you will have in it. So that's why you'll have a lot of competition and a lot of people there, which in turn will definitely impact your rental yields. I mean, if the tower is super successful, let's say everything works perfectly in a perfect world, maybe you would have pretty good rental yield and you might also collaborate with the other owners. However, that's not really the case because there are plenty of owners, plenty of other involved third-party people, and this will definitely impact and make it a bit harder for you to win in that tower. I personally prefer more mid-tier development, so you have a blend of also not so high and tall buildings with giving it more comfort to you or to your tenant, and you also basically have better service because the receptionists and the service desks don't need to serve so many people. So obviously that's a big factor that will make even your rental income better because more people will be attracted to live in that tower, and even Airbnb, more people, I mean, by visiting and checking the reviews, will also be attracted more to be there. The higher the tower, the higher the maintenance as well. Elevators, facade cleaning, fire safety, and luxurious amenities, they all need cleanups the pools as well. So you will see your service charges add up significantly, and that would definitely cut off your profits. For example, some of Dubai's tallest towers nowadays have service charges that are exceeding 40 dirhams per square feet, which is quite high. And in comparison to even my units that I manage in Business Bay, which is also considered a pretty expensive area in terms of maintenance, I pay around 24 to 26 dirhams per square feet. So that's almost double of what I pay. Ultra luxury units in mega tall structures have also a smaller pool of potential buyers compared to regular high-end apartments. That's why, for example, some of the apartments in very high entry ticket towers are currently struggling to be resold because there are newer towers popping up everywhere with better amenities. So people would actually choose those, and they also give better payment plans nowadays. So that's really a tricky market to be in, because you might get in when you think is the right time and you think is the right tower, but eventually you might have no chance to resell this. There is also very slow decision making because there are so many parties involved into this tower. In megatall towers, multiple investors, developers, and management entities besides the tenants and all the visitors might lead to so many conflicts over service charges, maintenance, building conflicts, and many more. Dispute resolution can be slow and complex, which eventually will lead to a lower quality of living in that tower, because the people that will be working there, they will simply have no time to solve all these issues at the right time. And the people who paid such high entry tickets to get into this tower, not only the investors, but also the visitors, the Airbnb tenants, the long-term tenants, they will be not really enjoying it, to say the least. But basically, they will be super frustrated. And finally, besides all this, there is the most important thing, which often can be overlooked, and I hope this is not the case. I really hope so. That is safety and risks associated to that. Super high skyscrapers pose unique fire safety risks, requiring high-tech evacuation solutions and advanced fireproofing as well. If fire safety regulations aren't strictly followed, residents could face major risks. So while I'm not saying that this will be the case in those towers or any other towers, this is just a general perception of mega tall structures, at least from my opinion and from a investor's opinion. And that's why I would try to avoid this kind of towers, or at least avoid them in the moment of launches and construction, because we really have no idea how they will end up being, and you have no idea how you are actually gambling with your money. So while I'm not saying that you shouldn't invest 100% in those, you might consider those, but just try to do your due diligence and see whether maybe there is an option for you to buy something in a ready-made tower. So while off plans are really good, in this specific megatall structures, it could be significantly riskier. Nevertheless, I hope you found this video helpful. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did so, please leave a thumbs up, subscribe to see more of these videos. And with this, I will see you in the next one.